Hey GS fam, what's going on? Before I start the video, I'd like to say that I'm doing voiceovers because my microphone adapter for the GoPro decided not to work anymore. It's broken, so I'm using voiceovers now. Never done this type of thing, so bear with me. I'm gonna do an oil change on the BMW F700GS today, or the other day I did it, so I'm gonna at least try the best I can and explain stuff. It's gonna be a lengthy video. I mean, the whole process took about 50 minutes, but I'm gonna try and drop it down into 20-25 minutes or so. So let me explain a few things. The other day I tried to do the oil change, but I couldn't because the drain plug did not cooperate with me. Previously BMW have over threatened that drain plug over there. They over tightened it up. They use an air gun or whatever, I don't know what they use, but it was reading at 70 plus Newton meters when I did the measurement, so it was going up still, so I stopped it at that one. But first I'm gonna try and see if this tool that I made from Home Depot will loosen up the oil filter, because if it doesn't loosen up the oil filter, then I may skip doing it and I'll do it another day. But apparently it did work wonders. That's a piping thing or whatever I got it from Home Depot. You can use any type of thing to loosen it up. I did not feel buying the oil wrench for the oil filter wrench for it. That won't work. That I put two scooter handlebars on it to make it a little bit more, having more leverage. So I have a long 10mm Allen key right now because the previous one, the smaller one I had, it broke down trying to loosen it up off camera. Of course, I just give it a try and decided to do an oil change if I was going to lose it. So I did loosen it up, and to my surprise, of course without sacrifices, actually I sacrificed a 10mm wrench. The impact gun that I used, it's a Makita impact torque wrench. It has about 250 Newton meters or feet-pounds of torque, something like that. But it broke down, it broke the Allen key trying to loosen that thing up. So I used the second one, the longer one, and after a few spins it got loose, it got the job done. Now that bolt, it's not stripped yet, the head is not stripped yet, it still bites well, so you still have purchase on it, you can still tighten and loosen it up. But I will replace it in the future, of course. So I'm gonna get some gloves right now before I start doing the oil change. Of course, my girl, she drops down the paperwork, so I put some gloves on it. You shouldn't touch oil with your hands. I mean, it's not good, I wouldn't recommend it, but anyway, if you want to feel like gangster, yeah, you can. If you want to have greasy hands, then yeah, go ahead, do it. But try not to drop the drain plug on the oil inside there, which to my surprise I managed not to do. Not often I manage that, but BMW helps for that, of course, because it's on the side, the drain plug, it's not underneath of it or whatever, so it's quite good that you won't drop it. I mean, you can still drop it, but it's kind of nasty picking it up from there. So cleaning it up, it would be like a little bit extra work, so try and avoid that thing if you can. Now I'm inspecting the drain plug to see if there is any metal shavings on it, and at first I thought there was some metal shavings on it, but to a further inspection, first I cleaned, but wind, of course, is gonna help spread the oil all over the bike. Yeah, it was calm, and then once I moved the drain plug, it started crazy wind. As you can see, stuff start flying around. But anyway, so yeah, as I was saying, I was inspecting the drain plug for metal shavings. I thought I had some, but I didn't have any. It was just oil gunk on top of the magnetic top of the drain plug. So I'm gonna do some cleaning here. I'm gonna clean that nut properly, carefully, and see if I can spot any metal stuff on it. Now that's the oil filter that I'm gonna use. That's a Hiflofiltro. That's an RC, actually. It's a racing, supposed to be. It's a racing. I'll put link on the description for the oil filter. That's an RC compared to the standard. The standard does not have welded 17mm bolt in it, which it helps a lot not using the oil wrench on it, but it helps using the normal socket, a 70mm socket on it, and you can torque it to, Hiflo says 12 to 15 newton meters if you're unsure about it, but if the service manual says more than 15, then you should use a torque wrench and torque it up to 15mm. Now that's the oil I'm going to use. It's a Liqui Moly. There's a lot of debate on oils or whatever, what oil you should use or not, but the BMW recommends using the Motorrad Advantech Pro oil or whatever. I'm using Liqui Moly. I found this one. The price was right. And you have to pay attention to a few letters over there that I'm pointing, but you cannot see them. I'll read them up to you. It's JASOMA2. Those two things has to be matching. If you buy oil for your BMW, the GS, at least the 700 of it, those two letters you have to match them, otherwise, you know, it won't be good for your engine or whatever, because that's what BMW says. Now the viscosity depends on cold or hot weather, depends on how you ride hard or not. You can use any type of viscosity, 15, W50 or whatever, that doesn't really matter. There's a lot of Google professors out there that they will tell you otherwise, like all that maths, but it really doesn't matter. Like if you're riding on 200 Fahrenheit degrees, regardless of it, the engine itself, it reaches about 200 degrees Fahrenheit when on riding conditions, so that doesn't really matter much, maybe in cold temperatures. But I'm not going to tackle that oil debate right now. Like I said, a lot of Google professors out there, they will try and correct me. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put the bike, I'm going to put the drain plug back on so I can move the bike on the center, from the center stand to the side stand right now, because that will drain more oil out of the oil sump pump, the oil sump itself. So yeah, that's about it for now, so I'll catch you up in a few seconds. And there you go, I'm loosening it up, the nut again, the sump plug, the whatever that thing is, and you can see it's a little bit more oil coming out of it. I did not unscrew the oil cap, the filler cap from it. You can loosen it up, it will come with more volume, the oil will come out with more volume, but it will still come out regardless of it what you loosen up. So as you can see right now, I'm pointing you can pause it, but I did not strip it. It's still usable, thankfully, so I can torque it back in. Now, like I said, I didn't remove the oil filler cap from it because I'm going to remove the oil filter anyway, and that thing is going to drop more oil out of it. I was surprised that this tool really helped, actually, and I'm not going to be using this tool again, for at least for this type of thing. But yeah, it's not very tight, you can loosen it up very easy. And you'll see that a lot of oil will come out of it. So yeah, now I'll just take care of a few things right now, like start cleaning and all the other stuff, so bear with me. Now what you want to do is, like, you know, you can drain the oil from the oil filter, and you can put it on the old oil filler, cardboard box that the new filter came in. You can put it in and save it there, recycle it with your oil, of course, and yeah, that's it. Do some cleaning around, of course. Don't leave it a mess. I mean, unless it won't matter actually, it's clean it or not clean, but it's good to have a clean surface to work on, and also have the bike a little bit cleaner. So I'm gonna do some cleaning right now and catch you up in a bit. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna fill up the oil, the new oil filter. I'm gonna fill it up. I would recommend filling it up. I mean, you can still put a dry oil filter in it, but then you have to fill it up, the motorcycle, you have to fill up the bike, and then you have to start the engine so you can send some oil to the filter and then refill that. Most of people do fill up their oil filter when they're changing, and then they're putting it on, so they don't have to do that. They don't have to refill it multiple times. So of course I have to fill it up slowly. I did not want to make a mess underneath. So now make sure that you have a wet wet lips or wet surface on it. You can use old oil or new oil, regardless of it. It won't really matter. You can use any type of oil. So as long as you make sure that, you know, that thing, it's the rubber gasket or whatever it's under around the filter, it's lubed up. So lube it up, the filter, and hand tighten it for the moment. Do not tighten anything. Make sure that it's hand tightened. You don't want to cross thread anything. So just go like that. Should be easy. And like I said, the torque specs of this one, they're about 12 to 15 Newton meters. Unless the service manual says more, you can torque on it more, but the Hiflo recommends 12 to 15. And the BMW itself, I think it's 13 Newton meters, so we should be all on the specs of it. Does not need to be over tightened, of course. So I'm getting a crash washer right now after negotiating with my girlfriend. So a crash washer, these are the part. I'll put the link on the description for this one as well. Like, I'll put a link on the description for everything I have in here, so if you want, you can get these things too, and it may help me a little bit as well, for, you know, without any charge to you at all, of course. So yeah, I'm replacing the crash washer and I'm putting in the new one, but of course make sure that everything is clean. Always have a clean surface, of course. And put it in, and the torque specs for this one, it's 2 billion Newton meters actually, compared based on BMW Motorrad. The service manual says 40 Newton meters, but BMW likes to put it at 2 billion or so Newton meters. So make sure that, you know, you don't cross thread anything in there, like everyone else says that, and you know, you should do it too. Don't cross thread. It's very easy to cross thread these things. It may feel like it's going in or whatever reason, but just hand tighten things first. There's no oil in that, but make sure that you clean everything around it, and then get your after putting your bike on the center stand, to simplify the work, take a torque wrench. My torque wrench has two readings. In the front it says feet-pound of torque, and on the back it says Newton meter. So put it 40 Newton meters, not 40 feet-pound of torque. 40 would be around 70 or so. So use a 40 Newton meters. Like I mentioned before, I'm using a 10 millimeter Allen key, a long one, because that's what I had. Unfortunately, that's the only thing I had left, because the other one broke. So it should be very easy. There you go. It's like, after you hand tighten it, you know, you go half a spin up and then a quarter one, and it will click into spot right now. Like I said, I will replace that drain plug anyway. So I'm making sure that it was at 40 Newton meters. It is at 40 Newton meters, so I'll just double checking things if it's the correct, because that's aluminum, so I thought maybe. But yeah, it clicks in spot, and no problem at all. Like, that's it, 40 Newton meters. It's time to torque out the oil filter right now. 17 millimeter socket at 13 BMW, I believe it's 13 Newton meters, but the oil filter Hiflo says 12 to 15. So I'm using 13 Newton millimeters here. I'm actually using by hand, but shouldn't be too tight, shouldn't be over tightened. It's just as long as it feels right. I would recommend using torque wrenches, by the way. Like, you know, a lot of people say I've been doing this for like 200 million years, and yeah, they have a feel of a torque. Bullshit. Just, you know, just use a torque wrench anyway, because, you know, while you may be correct about it, of course, but it's not that difficult. Just, you know, use the tools. They made the tools, and simplify your life, to my opinion. So torque it up to 13 Newton meters. BMW recommends, I believe. 13 Newton meters, and should be simple. Now, oil change should be done every 6,000 miles on the F700GS. I mean, that's what the manual says, or every year, whichever comes first. Now, BMW Motorrad told me that, oh, you should do it every 3,000 miles. I don't know why would I do that every 3,000 miles when the service manual says every 6,000 miles, 5 to 6, I think, something like that. So these guys build the bike. BMW Motorrad wants to sell oil, I guess, and service. So anyway, that's about it. The oil, I still have to fill it up completely right now. The only problem with the Liqui Moly thing is that it does not have meters on the side, so you don't know how much oil you're putting in. It does have 3 gauges actually, like 3 lines only. It's top, middle, and on the bottom, so try and go towards the bottom as much as you can. Now, I did a mistake here over filling up the oil, but I loosened up the drain plug and I drained a little bit of oil, and I managed to have it completely centered. And I did ride the bike. I put about 200 miles on it, on the bike, so I did put 200 miles on the bike, so yeah, it feels, everything, it feels fine. It's, you know, straight in the middle, everything, it's in the middle right now, so the level, I mean. And surprisingly, shifting up, it's smoother. I can find neutral easier a little bit right now. I don't know if that had any effect or not, the oil or not, but yeah, like I said, I overfilled with oil, because the problem is that BMW does not have a window like most of Japanese bikes have. They have a oil window that you can see the level and the color of the oil as well. This one does not have. This one has a 1900 dipstick in it. I don't know why BMW put it like this, made it like this, but anyway, so like I said, I overfilled it up, and you'll see it in a bit. So I'm gonna fast forward it and I'll catch you up in a bit. Unfortunately, you cannot hear it, but I started the bike a little bit, and I'm letting it running for a minute or so to see, you know, to lubricate the whole thing. The first start, I didn't like it because it was a clank on it, actually. I'm pointing it. I thought it could have come from the engine or from the truck behind me, but it was a clank, like metal to metal stuff when I started the bike, so hopefully it was not from the bike, and maybe it was from the truck behind me. But yeah, the bike is running right now, and I'll shut it off right now actually and take a look at the dipstick and see, you know, if the oil levels are correct or not. So, you know, I'm letting it cool a second or so, let it drop and see if which I already know that I screwed up. Actually, I overfilled it up, but without a problem, we can, you know, loosen it up. It's okay. I mean, you don't have to replace the crush washer, of course, because, you know, you gotta drain a lot of oil if you do, so you have to drain the whole oil. So you just loosen up a little bit, let some oil out, retighten, retorque the drain plug, and that's about it. Now, I did not over torque it, because if it was over torqued, I would have hard time loosening up the drain plug. As you're gonna see, the drain plug gets, you know, loosened quickly. Like I said, I put 200 miles on the bike already, and the bike does not leak any oils or whatsoever, so it's everything correct. So yeah, I'm gonna drain in a second or so. I'm gonna drain the oil. Unfortunately, like I said, the Liqui Moly bottle does not have measurements, so doesn't help much. So you have to be careful with it. Hopefully my mistake would be your lesson if you do this, unless you buy a cup that measures. But yeah, try and be patient and put little oil at a time until you like the measurements, until you have oil that shows on the dipstick in the middle, not in the minimum or maximum. So I'm gonna time lapping now. Catch you in a bit. Now with the help of my girlfriend right now, of course, I'm gonna put the oil. It's kind of windy, so I wouldn't do by myself this one unless I'll make a mess. I don't want to make a mess, so recycle the oil. You know, do not, of course, do not drain this thing on the drain or whatever. Don't be that dickhead, don't be that asshole. So luckily for me, I have a gas station right next to me on my left hand side, or on the left side of the screen. There is a gas station there that they will recycle the oil and my oil filter free of charge, of course. Any gas station or any place that makes oil changes, it's, I think, by New York law or by New York federal law that they will not refuse to accept the oil. So you Google professors out there can correct me on that one, but I think that's a law that if they do oil changes, they have to accept your used up to 5 gallons, I think, of used oil per day. So yeah, I'm lucky of that. I have a gas station right there that I can recycle my oil and my oil filter. And basically pretty much that's it about the video. I mean, right now I'm just gonna clean up, put shit back together, give the bike a start. Unfortunately, we cannot hear the starting of the engine, but yeah, I'll give it a run. I'll give it a few tries. I'll clean around in here, and basically that's about it. The whole process took about, like I said, about 50 minutes with the screw ups that I did also, like overfilling up the stuff and everything. It took 50 minutes. So also with the explanation and everything, my girlfriend, she just bent my handlebars with her head. So yeah. What I was gonna say, I'm gonna clean around, like I said. I will degrease a little bit the floor too, of course, because I spilled some oil over there, as you guys saw it. And I'm gonna start the bike right now, let it run for a few minutes and give it a few tries, give it a few tests and see how the oil level it is. And basically that's it for the video. I appreciate the time that you guys took and watching the video. So from now on, you know, just ride hard, ride recklessly, and always be safe. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. And also don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, hit a thumbs up or thumbs down regardless of it. Sorry for the lengthy video, but I thought it was good to have you know, this kind of documented stuff in here. If you have any questions, don't hesitate, leave them on a comment, and I'll try and reply all the questions as soon as I can, to the best of my knowledge as I can. Remember, I'm not a certified BMW mechanic or whatever. I have a little bit of a wrenching background or whatever, and yeah, by doing stuff like that. So stay tuned for more videos, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share it, and be safe. Enjoy the riding. It's all about it that matters.